The rain had been falling since morning, soft, steady, endless, like the sky was mourning something it couldn't explain. Ava sat by her bedroom window, knees drawn close, watching raindrops slide down the glass. Her phone lay beside her, the screen lighting up every few minutes, but never with the name she longed to see. It had been 21 days since John said he needed space. 3 simple words. No anger. No fight. Just distance. At first, Ava believed it was temporary, that maybe he just needed time to breathe, to think, to find clarity. She told herself love was strong enough to survive silence. But as days turned into weeks, hope began to feel like a burden. Every morning, she woke up reaching for her phone. Every night, she fell asleep replaying their last conversation, searching for hidden meaning. I just need some time, Ava. Please understand. She did. She understood too much. What she didn't understand was how someone could vanish from your world without even saying goodbye. Memories that wouldn't fade. John wasn't just her boyfriend, he was her safe place. They had met 3 years ago in college. He was confident, charming, and full of plans. She was quiet, gentle, and always thinking too much. Somehow, they fit like 2 puzzle pieces that didn't look like they belonged, but somehow completed each other. They had their routines, late-night coffee runs, walks under streetlights, endless talks about dreams and fears. He used to tell her, "You're my calm in the chaos, Ava." She used to believe him. But love, as she learned, doesn't always end with betrayal. Sometimes it ends with silence, and that hurts even more. She tried to distract herself. Work, friends, music. But no matter what she did, everything reminded her of him. The cafe they used to go to, the playlist he made for her, even the smell of rain, his favorite weather. One night, unable to sleep, she opened her messages. Their last text still sat there. Ava, I'll wait for you. John, thank you. I just need to figure things out. That was it. No closure. No goodbye. Just an unfinished story. The betrayal she didn't expect. Ava wasn't looking for pain that day. She was simply scrolling through social media, trying to feel alive again. Then she saw it. John smiling. John holding another girl's hand. John wearing the same watch she'd given him on his birthday. And below the photo, the caption read. She said yes, red heart. Her hands went cold. Her breath caught somewhere between disbelief and heartbreak. For a few seconds, she couldn't move. Then the tears came hot, heavy, unstoppable. She whispered, her voice trembling. So, that's my goodbye. There was no message, no explanation, no chance to ask why. He had simply walked into a new life, leaving her trapped in the ruins of the old one. That night, she deleted his number, but not his memories. You can erase contact information, but not the moments that live in your heartbeat. The years between then and now. Time passed. Slowly. Ava learned to live again, piece by piece. She moved to a new city, started a job in a small publishing company, and adopted a little cat named Luna. But deep inside, a quiet ache always remained. Not the sharp pain of heartbreak, just the soft hum of something unfinished. Sometimes, she'd wonder what she would say if she saw him again. Would she cry? Would she shout? Or would she simply smile and walk away? She didn't know. Until one day, life gave her the answer. The return. It was a quiet afternoon in a cafe near her office. Ava sat by the window, editing manuscripts, lost in her world of words. And then she heard a voice, familiar, uncertain. Ava? She froze. The sound of that name, spoken in that voice, pulled her back through years of memories. She turned slowly. John stood there. Older. Tired. Different. But it was him. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The world outside the window blurred into nothing but rain and reflections. He finally said, almost in a whisper, I wasn't sure if you'd remember me. She let out a soft, almost bitter laugh. You don't forget the person who taught you how silence feels. He looked down. His eyes carried the weight of regret. I'm sorry, Ava. I was stupid. I thought leaving quietly would hurt less. I didn't know how to explain. I didn't know what I wanted back then. She watched him carefully, this man who once felt like home, now a stranger in familiar skin. And now, she asked softly. Now, he said, I know I left the wrong person. For a long moment, the world seemed to pause. Outside, the rain slowed. Inside, the air grew heavy. Ava smiled faintly, her voice steady but distant. You didn't just leave, John, you disappeared. There's a difference. He looked up, his eyes searching hers for forgiveness that wasn't his to find. The goodbye she never needed. They sat for a while, talking about everything and nothing. About life, work, the years that passed. But there was no us left to talk about, only echoes. At one point, he said, I still think about you. She nodded. I used to think about you too, every single day. But one morning, I realized I didn't anymore. He looked broken, like he wanted to say something but couldn't. Ava stood up, gathering her things. The same cafe music that once would have hurt now just sounded peaceful. She smiled gently, a kind smile, the kind that comes from acceptance, not pain. Goodbyes are for stories that still hurt, she said softly. I already healed. She turned and walked toward the door. The golden light of sunset filtered through the window, touching her face. He watched her leave, his heart heavy with everything he never said. And for the first time, John realized. The silence he once gave her was now the silence she gave back. Peace after the storm. Outside, Ava stood under the open sky. The rain had finally stopped, leaving behind the scent of wet earth and renewal. She took a deep breath, not of relief, but of peace. Not because John came back, but because she no longer needed him to. She had waited for closure that never came. And in the end, she found it within herself. Love had hurt her once, but healing had made her stronger than she ever thought she could be. As she walked down the street, Luna's tiny collar jingling in her bag, she smiled to herself. He came back, she whispered. But too late. The lesson. She turned and walked toward the door. The golden light of sunset filtered through the window, touching her face. He watched her leave, his heart heavy with everything he never said. And for the first time, John realized. The silence he once gave her was now the silence she gave back. Peace after the storm. Outside, Ava stood under the open sky. The rain had finally stopped, leaving behind the scent of wet earth and renewal. She took a deep breath, not of relief, but of peace. Not because John came back, but because she no longer needed him to. She had waited for closure that never came. And in the end, she found it within herself. Love had hurt her once, but healing had made her stronger than she ever thought she could be. As she walked down the street, Luna's tiny collar jingling in her bag, she smiled to herself. He came back, she whispered. But too late. The lesson.